we were a bit like, should we make some sort of social media platform? Like, you know, just put some like videos out there and see what we can do. And it just kind of obviously grew from that.
It is hard, you know, the rowing is a tough sport, but when you choose to row in a quad, you need 5 people, so your 4 rowers and your cocks, to get together regularly.
But we just thought, you know what, it's now or never, let's just give it a go and have some fun.
What Jersey's really, like the Jersey Rowing Club is really well known for, like when you just first join the club, is really long distance races. So that would be, for example, Sark to Jersey or Gorey to Carteret.
Like when you get shortlisted for things like that and realise that the work you are putting in and what you're getting out of it, and people are actually being like, do you know what, like fair play, like well done, here's a pat on the back. It's just, I don't know, it's a bit surreal for me.
Jersey Rowing Club will have a go row on twice a year outside of our rowing season, just so we have more time to cater to it and help new joiners. But essentially in November and March every year, the club opens up to do 4 weekends where you can come, you can have a go in a boat with other people, see if you like it.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Sportscast Jersey. Today we are joined by the Girls That Row crew. There's so many of them. I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves. So one by one, take it away.
So I'm Sarah Els. I am the captain of the team. I started rowing back in 2016.
My name's Emma, and I joined at the same time as Sarah.
I'm Abby. I joined maybe just over 2 years ago, so I think 2021, that's when I started rowing.
I'm Susan, I'm the cocks, and I started rowing, wait for it, back way before lots of other people were born, like 1983. So that was my first introduction to rowing in Jersey. I had a 25-year break and I came back to Cox, the Girls That Row, a couple of years ago.
Nice. What I want to ask first of all, before we go into everything you've kind of achieved as a crew, when did you first all kind of meet, and when did you first go on the boat the first time, and do you remember that time?
So maybe I'll do this just because so Emma and Sarah, background, they've obviously been rowing for a really long time. And then we had another girl in our boat called Connie, but she's unfortunately just left to go to Australia. So she joined their boat in
21.
21.
Yeah, and then they had a girl called Gemma, and she had a baby. So they were looking for essentially a 5th spot. And me and Emma are sisters, obviously, so very. And because obviously Emma was very good friends with Sarah, and they kind of had the quad together with Sue, who's actually a very close family friend of me and Emma. So I kind of joined the boat in late 2021, and then I think we did a couple like races. Well, we did a little bit together, and I think what happened was that we just actually quite gelled quite nicely, and then we were a bit like, should we make some sort of social media platform? Like, you know, just put some like videos out there and see what we can do. And it just kind of obviously grew from that. But I think when the first time we kind of rowed as a crew was late 21, probably. I think I joined after the season finished.
Yeah.
So
How hard is it, you say you all gelled, and how hard is it to find that right team to go to race with, I guess?
It is hard, you know, the rowing is a tough sport, but when you choose to row in a quad, you need 5 people, so your 4 rowers and your cocks, to get together regularly and be able to commit the time. Abby referred to Connie. Connie's actually my daughter, so she's left the crew now, but that was another reason I think that we were quite tight. So it was that commitment, and we kind of snuck this on Abby to a certain extent. We were like, have a go, Abby. Connie had a go a couple of times in the summer of 21, done a couple of races and was quite keen. And then when Gemma left, it was like, Abby, come along, give it a go. And we weren't quite sure how it was going to go, whether she was going to enjoy it, because it's super hard work. And then it's a case of it kind of creeps up on you because it starts going well, and it's like, can we commit to the same time? So we were probably training 3 times, well, at least once a week in the boat that first winter. And then it just kind of went from there. And it was Sarah, and maybe we should hand over to Sarah to talk about the vision really of going to our first offshore competition. And I think, Abby, it was your 6th race, wasn't it, when we went to Brits in 2022?
Yeah, it was a bit mad.
Yeah.
I'm competitive, and obviously we've said that Emma and I have been rowing for a number of years, and I think it'd been kind of always a goal to go off Ireland and compete at least at the British Championships. Probably didn't have any designs to go any further than that. So it was the first time when the 4 of us girls got together, we thought, actually, we all get on, we all row well together. It was helpful that we're all kind of similar heights, sizes, etc. for rowing, and just thought, let's just go for it. Obviously, Abby and Connie hadn't really had much race experience, but we just thought, you know what, it's now or never. Let's just give it a go and have some fun.
Yeah, how daunting was that next step, I guess, to go over there to compete against probably the best that there are and really push yourselves?
You just don't ever really know what the competition is, but then sometimes not knowing makes it slightly easier. I think it's gotten harder the more competitions we've gone to, because you have that extra experience and you know who your competitors are because you've raced against them. So I'd say that first one, we probably were a little bit, we didn't know what we were putting ourselves up for, so we just kind of went with it.
Yeah. What I wanted to ask before I came on to the achievements and what you have really done well in is, for people who don't know rowing as much, there are different races, if I'm correct, and different styles, different formats. What can you explain them a bit more, and just explain to those novices of rowing that don't know anything about the sport?
So I guess there's multiple different kinds. So I guess what Jersey's really, like, the Jersey Rowing Club is really well known for, like, when you just first join the club, is really long distance races. So that would be, for example, Sark to Jersey or Gorey to Carteret. And they're, you're talking like 3.5 to 4 hour rowing. So that's really well attended in Jersey. Everybody absolutely loves it in the local rowing club. But when you start to transition more to like offshore racing, their endurance, what they call endurance, is actually 6 kilometers, which when you compare to a 20 plus kilometer race, is actually very short. So that's basically the 2 different kinds. There's also now becoming really popular, and I'm not going to speak about this because Sarah's very, very in the depth of how everything goes on, but they've now just kind of brought out beach sprints that's getting very, very popular. So maybe we could talk about, Sarah wants to talk about that, or we'll talk about it later. But there's like 3 different like ways to what you might want to row, how you might want to row, what distances you might want to row.
And there's also different classes as well. So we are in a quad, but you can also row in a pair or in a singles as well. So those are the most common boats that are rowed in Jersey. And we scull, so that's 2 oars in each, 1 oar in each hand, 2 oars each. Back in the day when I started rowing, it was sweeping, so that was 1 oar each. So a quad boat had 4 oars, but now we transitioned to sculling and sliding seats probably in the late 80s, early 90s. But prior to that, it was fixed seat, very much more older, traditional clinker built boats. So things have come a long way.
Yeah.
Also note that the kind of offshore endurance races, they're buoyed courses around the bay. So there's the navigational element of it. So and each race will be slightly different, different markers that we'll be aiming for.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's very interesting. I think it's key to point out all those different styles and races, and before we went into what you have excelled in and what have you, because a lot of people probably only know rowing from one race, the boat race. So I think it's important to know other styles as well. But yeah, I want to go back onto you guys, and as you've mentioned there, you've taken part in some major competitions, and you've done brilliantly at British and the Welsh Championships, especially getting gold. How special were they for you guys?
Last year, we competed at the Brits and the Europeans, and it was very much our first kind of foray into competing off island, and didn't necessarily, especially the Brits, do as well as we'd hoped. It was very much a new experience for us, style of competing, weather conditions. So it was a complete different challenge. So we'd set ourselves the goal of this year, like, really going for it, and that meant training throughout the winter. But because the British Championships were in the summer, it was going to be a really long time to have to kind of keep up that training momentum. So the Welsh Championships were much earlier in the year. So for us, winning gold at the Welsh was really just a kind of validation for the hard work that we put in on technique and fitness and strength over the winter period. So it was really great, but it was just the kind of great that was worth it. So but the ultimate goal was really to target the gold at the Brits.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I would add that for Wales, you're never quite sure of exactly what the competition's going to be like until you get there. You're not sure what the course is going to be. The weather conditions can be changeable, and you're borrowing boats effectively. So, we use a Swift boats in Jersey, and we were lucky enough to row those at each of the competitions we've been offshore. So we were very familiar with the boat. Wales in April, the weather was perfect. It was absolutely lovely. In fact, the mist cleared in the morning, so it meant I could see the first buoy. If you can't see the first buoy that you've got to turn, which is about I don't know, a mile and a half away, then you're really stuck if you're not quite sure where you're going. And it was competitive, and our closest competitor for that Welsh race was actually another Jersey boat. And we tussled all the way to the first buoy. We managed to overtake them on the second leg, and that was amazing. So I think that we went perhaps expecting to get a medal, but we didn't know what colour it would be. So when it turned out to be gold, it was amazing. And like Sarah said, that just proved that we'd put the work in, and would carry on towards the Brits in Exmouth in July.
Yeah, what I was going to say there is, did it help you push on from there and really start motivating yourself to look forward straight away to the Brits? And is that what really got your momentum going into the Brits, and why you, well, obviously got goals through merit, but also the momentum helped you a lot?
I think the Brits was just like, as Sarah said, it was like that validation that everything that we'd been training for and everything that we've been doing since the last Brits, we obviously put into practice, and obviously we were all just absolutely elated. I think when we got that gold medal, like coming over the finish line, we were all just absolutely buzzing. I think it was probably one of the best moments for us as definitely a crew. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. No, it sounds an amazing achievement and something you should all be proud of. And what I want to go on into next is, obviously the Brits is massive, but then you challenge yourselves again, going Worlds and the Euros as well. How big a challenge were those, and how good experience was it to see the crews from different countries and how they approach races, and how much of a learning curve were those kind of races?
I think from the Euros last year, what we did was we were able to kind of obviously look at these crews that are, potentially Olympic rowers, people that are rowing day in, day out, university kids, like people that rowing is their life. It was really good to see that, I guess, their skill, their technique, and, I guess look at how we're doing and our technique and being able to bring that into the Euros, I mean, we knew that we were up against some really fierce competition. So I think with the Euros and the Worlds, it was very much like we'll just go and we'll try as hard as we can and use the knowledge and what we've seen and what we've learned and what our trainer has kind of given us to work on. As long as we put in what we can, I think that was kind of the outcome. Like, we didn't do as well as we did last year with the Euros, but then we also close the gap between us and the number one, which was obviously really positive for us, but you know.
Yeah.
Coastal rowing is becoming increasingly more popular every year, particularly now that beach sprints is in the Olympics. So whilst we came out of the Euros and thought we came lower in the kind of rankings, but there was a significantly larger field and they're obviously getting more and more experienced all the time. So actually, we looked at the time difference and thought actually the time difference between us and number one was smaller. So we kind of took that as a positive step forward. But for me, I think the difference between those events and say the British Championships is the mental side of it, because the infrastructure is so much bigger. There's significantly more people. The media attention is significantly higher. So it's really a learning curve from how to prepare yourself mentally for competing and not letting all of that buzz that's going on around you kind of prevent you from being able to physically perform. Because once you've got there, there's nothing more you can do physically. It's just about keeping calm and staying kind of in the zone of the competition and not be kind of intimidated by the fact that you've got these 6'2" women, walking around past you.
I think for me, as a cox, the main difference is the number of boats that you're competing against. So locally, we might do some races where you might have a start against maybe 7, 8 different boats. Even in Wales and Brits, we were probably up against 7, 8, 9 different boats. To go from that into the Euros, where you're starting against 14, 15, 16 boats on the start line, and you're all racing for the same piece of water, it is a contact sport. It's not like flat water or river rowing where everybody sets off and they're just going in a straight line, because we're racing around a number of turns. There are crashes, there are boats being T-boned. You need to be brave and you need to be really sure of your course. So as a cox, these girls have put in a huge amount of hard work. They've trained really hard, and rowing's very technical. But if I screw up, it's all it all screws up, because I need to make sure the course is right. I need to make sure I don't get in front of get in anybody's way, or they don't get in my way. So that for me, and this was my first time this year of going to Euros or Worlds, because the girls had a different cox last year, was just the sheer intensity of getting on a start line with 18 other boats. And there are some very canny crews out there who will time their start for a flying start, very much more experienced than we are. So that was a huge challenge for me personally.
I was just going to say, just worth noting that one of the great things about going to the Euros and the Worlds is actually connecting with the other rowers, because in Jersey we just meet the same people over and over again, but we've been able to connect with other female rowers, and Sarah even got the opportunity to then row in Cyprus when she went on holiday, because we connected with people through our socials. So it's actually really nice to not only go over there, but you're kind of connecting with a community of people who have the same even. So that's a really positive thing that comes out of it, even though you're all racing against each other. Everybody's really nice.
Yeah, literally answered my question I was about to ask, so that's good. No, it's good. You've been recognised for a few awards since and over the years. How good is that, both locally and in the UK, for you to get that recognition? How proud are you of that as well?
To be fair, it seems a bit like when people recognise it, when we got shortlisted for Club Crew of the Year, obviously the submission was fantastic. But it's just a bit for me, it's a bit surreal, because like I just think, oh, we're just like four girls in Jersey. We've got a little social media, like only 1,000 people follow us. It's fine. But like when you get shortlisted for things like that and realize that the work you are putting in and what you're getting out of it, and people are actually being like, do you know what? Like, fair play, like, well done. Here's a pat on the back. It's just, I don't know. It's a bit surreal for me. That's what I think. But amazing, obviously, at the same time. But yeah, what does everyone else feel like?
I think it's just, it's that extra validation. It's a sport that we're all really passionate about. We spend a significant part of our time down at the rowing club training. And part of the reason why we have our social media platform is to get exposure for the sport, because coastal rowing is still a fairly niche sport, but it is growing in popularity. So us getting recognised for our efforts helps us with that goal of trying to get more people into sport, but especially more, young women.
In terms of in Jersey, we've touched on it a few times in conversations. What opportunities are there for people who might be watching or listening to this and might want to get involved in the sport?
Yeah, that's definitely Emma's shout.
I've been given the task now of what we call Have a Go Row. So the Jersey Rowing Club will put Have a Go Row on twice a year outside of our rowing season, just so we have more time to cater to it and help new joiners. But essentially in November and March every year, the club opens up to do 4 weekends where you can come, you can have a go in a boat with other people, see if you like it. And then we basically take it from there. If you're interested, we just get you out as rowing as much as possible. I would say if anybody did want to start rowing, it takes a lot of commitment, a lot of perseverance, because you're rowing with, it's very hard to coordinate yourself, and you're rowing with a lot of other people who are also new. But it just takes, to get people out, you just need a number of people to support you. So it just takes a bit of commitment.
Yeah.
From a new joiner.
So that's adults. So we also run a youth academy rowing club, which is open from the age of 14, I believe. So if there are any like younger persons that are watching and they're interested in giving coastal rowing a go, that's run during term time, and there's information on our website that can be followed. So we've got a really strong youth academy kind of coach team who are really passionate about getting young people into the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to just ask you guys, obviously the social media shows it a lot that you're a close group friendship wise, as well as obviously a team. How big is it socially as well as physically to get involved in this sport?
I mean, as you've said, like we see each other all the time. Like we're like, we see each other we saw each other this morning, and we were like, when are we going to see Sarah next? And we were like, oh wait, we're rowing on Sunday. So like we always know that it will either be a day or a couple days before we see each other again, or like we go out rowing again together. I would say it's quite social though, because obviously now we don't have Connie. We do like obviously go out to the rest of the club, and we like to, get new people in the boat and have a go with them. A lot of the time it was quite nice to have a new person in the boat, because a lot of the time they might have a tip or a trick, or like something that we can learn from them, or they can learn from us. Especially with having a new person in the boat, they feel things that we don't feel as well. So it's really good to like be social with absolutely everyone in the club. But yeah, as I said, we spend a lot of time together. Like we'll go for breakfast like on the weekends. We'll be like, right, rowing. Okay, we're definitely going for breakfast, right? That's like we haven't even spoken about it, but it's happening.
Nah.
No, I think as well, the rowing club, we're very lucky to have a clubhouse by the harbour at the Folly there, and there's community rowing that happens on a Monday evening. So if the weather's not good enough, we'll be in the clubhouse on the ergometers doing some rowing, and it's just lots of different people with different experiences. Even I get on the ergometer and have a go, and I'm a cox. And then we've started doing nighttime rowing. So in the winter on a Monday evening, we can actually get the boats out in the harbour with lights on. So again, the concept there is just different people from different crews getting together in different boats and just going for a row. So that's a really nice thing. And of course, we're very close to somewhere to go for breakfast, the yacht club. So you will quite often find an awful lot of the Jersey Rowing Club are also members of the St Helier Yacht Club. And everybody goes for breakfast on a Saturday and Sunday morning. So there's always someone to talk to. There'll always be somebody in the clubhouse.
Yeah, amazing. I think that's the important side of any sport, the social side, and obviously it improves mental health and what have you as well. So I would encourage anyone to get going, have a go, and join any of those groups like that you've just mentioned there.
Are you going to come along, Dan? I think you should have a go in March.
I should have a go. I am sporty, so we'll see.
There we go.
Going back to you guys, what's next for you? What's the future goals? Obviously, we've mentioned a lot of competitions here that you've took part in, but is there any kind of end goal that we got in mind as a team?
We're down a person, so our first priority and goal is to kind of find somebody that wants to row with us and that we want to row with. I think we definitely want to have another go at the British Championships and I think the Worlds as well. We're still waiting on some of the dates for events, so it's quite tricky to make plans. But we definitely want to have go back and redo that. So we'll see. I think it'd be lovely to walk away from next season with another gold medal. But as I said, it's getting more and more popular, and with beach sprints, more and more younger people are getting involved. So it's probably going to make it harder for us to keep our crown, but we'll try.
There's some opportunities because of the beach sprints, and Sarah competed for Jersey at the Home Internationals earlier this year. Did amazing, got a gold medal, and up against sort of Scotland and Wales, and these are like very experienced coastal rowers. So that kind of has rolled on to the fact that we had a GB coach in the island 2 weekends ago, and it was a really popular session. We had 15 different crews out with James Walker from British Rowing actually coaching us. So we've taken that opportunity up, and that's given us a great sort of some great tips to move forward. So I think that we can only look at improving in terms of technique and our training regime. We're already training, I think, more this season than we were this time last season, so that's great. And we just really like to see some more beach sprints in Jersey as well, because it's a real spectator sport. Offshore rowing, you see the start and you see the boats sail off, and if you row off, and if you go and stand at Noirmore, you might see them past, or in Beauport or somewhere. But actually, the beach sprints is so fast and furious. It's like a run down the beach, jump into the boat, row round a 250-meter course slalom, straight back to the beach, run up the beach, and press a buzzer. And it's like for spectators, it's great fun, and there's always thrills and spills. There's waves and goodness knows what, and boats turning over and people falling out. And I think the girls have all had a go at that. We've even done it in the quad, which was super good fun. That was great as well. So I think I would be saying to people, look out for those events. There's going to be more of them in Jersey in 2024. Do you think, Sarah?
Yeah, definitely. We're kind of engaged with British Rowing at the moment. They're looking to see what we can do to help them with putting on championship events in the early part of next year. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Something else for the Jersey fans of sport in Jersey to look forward to, and then hopefully more people take part in the sport after literally watching it firsthand. Girls, thank you for your time. That was a superb little chat, and good to promote what you're doing, and well done with everything you've achieved so far.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, that was another episode of Sportscast Jersey. Another episode is coming soon.